Being exhausted with the present state is primarily a moment of when you are very assured of having the will to move forwards into the new. The new is an unknown reality, and so it is sacred. Having the will to move into what is sacred, unknown, and therefore not afraid to be made to think and feel, vulnerable, insecure, and even afraid, reveals the difficulty and interest of having your life journey to evolve into something more pleasant than the present state. This does not always imply that the present being a state of discord, but in knowing that there is indeed something better for your state of being, even though the present state is enjoyable the majority of the time. You just can feel in your spirit that your very destiny and presence upon this earth has further meaning than the current understanding. Your destiny is calling you and therefore inspiring you to venture further into yourself and your living experience. To venture into the sacred, even though in a lacking state of perception, because of not knowing in facts at the moment, there is a suggestive presence of the spiritual intellect which is through a feeling that what is ahead will demand your journey some sacrifices which will be demanded of you if you are truly resolved to fully understand the reasoning of why these sacrifices are justifiable. There is a concern inside of losing people and things. This will in time, as you move forwards, realize that those people and things were only present for a season no matter of who they are, whereas you will understand they will no longer be. The seasons and all convoluted have parted themselves from your journey, as also, you will come to know of how to exist in peace with such a state never before thought to be possible in your mind and its consciousness, in which reveals an attachment, dependency and selfishness accompanied with the fear of not only losing, but also the fear of not being able to sustain, while sustaining. You will in time, through quantities of dimensions of learning, come to know that the life journey is accommodated with the undertaking of embracing and letting go. You will understand that embracing and letting go are in fact one movement, because they are dual components which gives purpose, and therefore identity to one another, purpose to exist, when before thought and felt to be in opposition to one another because of having a lack of perception of the purpose in working together, and only having a limited understanding of only their opposing natures perceived as only conflicting objectives, while they in truth must perform these attributes for the sake of understanding and then clarity upon a universal understanding. These opposing natures within dual components serve as a beneficiary for the human journey. This is where intelligence becomes the essential factor. In time, in honest and open observation without comparison of any knowledge of the past, which only creates a screen of misconception. Yes, they do. We come to know in time that what was before perceived as opposing elements are in truth a part of the same movement and divine purpose in each lives freely lived outside of the common mind. The common mind is left limited and therefore in a state of conflict, because of the formal education that was given from a limited source, as well as a source which has only no conflict and disorder, and in being the educator of the human family, have imbued in the mentality of the human being disorder and divisiveness. They taught of the dual components as enemies instead of objective allies. Every movement inside of the human mind has a profound reasoning which has to be observed and understood, if one will be able to understand the journey of pleasant times along with time that are in fact unpleasant. The acceptance of knowing that it is not wise to only think and feel that the life journey is always personally satisfying in terms of the common pleasures of living, and know that those unpleasant times also contain an immense lesson of self-knowing and therefore a universal state of knowing because of being of the universe itself. One comes to understand that the feelings of disappointment, lost in grief are only entities for inspiration towards coming to know the being as well as the vitality of the life journey itself. As this comes to be known and then accepted in its fullness, One is even emotionally free from the common hurts and states of various despondency, because you have been made psychologically free, because of coming to embrace the facts of living, and the movement of embracing and letting go. To understand and accept that they are in nature, one movement, and not separated in opposing objectives intensifying the inner duality, one comes to know that every experience has functioned in their favor. Written by David Anthony Breboy.